It's an honor and a can you make this slightly lower? Yeah, it's an honor. That's better. Is that better? Okay. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I'd like to thank Ron Enofer and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange and everyone who's here this evening. What I'm going to be talking about this evening is brand psychology from a different type of a way than just talking about it from the point of view of commerce. The reason I got involved with the idea of branding and psychology is because I've worked for 30 years in the areas of marketing and public relations and that sort of idea. I've written 15 books which on all aspects of the classical stuff to do with marketing. And I noticed some years ago, as more and more of us became hooked on the internet, that the way that brands were speaking to people was mainly through algorithms. Yeah, it was all about algorithms, whether someone is going to be clicking or whether someone's not going to be clicking, and so on and so forth. And I work with big brands who offer cloud computing and other services to do with big data. And when it occurred to me that although this is all great stuff, and it's amazing stuff, the technology, amazing. But what I felt was missing was that we weren't speaking to people anymore. It was all about speaking to prospects, to consumers. And I wanted to get back to the idea of understanding that we are actually speaking to people. So let me take you on this journey for the next 28 minutes or so into what I believe brand psychology is, but from a wider view than just the view of commerce. So, to start off, let's go backwards. Let's go backwards, and let's go back to early mankind. And in the beginning, so we got here an example of a cave painting. Okay, great. Now, on I suppose the first glance at this picture here, we can see that there's a guy with a bow and arrow, and here there's some cattle and so on and so forth. Fine. But I think that what this is saying to people, right, to the tribes who might be looking at this, there'd be different types of tribes, yeah. I think that what it's saying is not just it's a nice picture, and I'm sure it was a great picture and it still is a great picture, but it's more than that. I think what it's saying we're a powerful nation because we have the latest technology. So in other words, it's saying we got the latest technology. It's also saying we're quite a wealthy nation because in terms of it's got all the cattle and this particular tribe has all the cattle and so on and so forth. And this is the beginning of branding. This is the beginning of branding because branding isn't just a logo, okay? It's really not just the logo. That is the most shallowest way of looking at it, okay? What branding's about, it's about what people get from the experience of dealing with an organization. Whether that organization be a tribe in this case, yeah, whether the organization be a political organization, and we're going to be talking about politics in a second, whether it be a cultural organization, it's all about the experience. And that includes, by the way, I'm going to put this here because it's a bit dangerous next to a computer. That includes the experience of employees as well. Yeah? So let's bring this up to date now. We know this, you know this, I know this in terms of big data, okay? We know that the world we've never had so much data, yeah? The data is going all over the place, okay? We've got here, it's going from 1 zettabyte in terms of 2010, 2015, we've got, what have we got there? I can't see that. 7, yeah, right. And over there, we've got in 2020, we're looking at 40 zettabytes. What is 40 zettabytes? Okay, so 40 zettabytes is on a CD, right? On a CD, I think it's 16 B something or other. What is it? The 16? Because you're nodding, saying that you know what the CD. A standard CD recording, yeah. It's every single conversation that's ever happened in the whole history of mankind, at that kind of degree of data, recording it. It's a lot of data. And all this data that's around, okay, it's making people feel that, am I missing something? Because I'm looking on my iPad or on my iPhone or whatever it might be, and it looks like there's so much else out there. Can we switch off the... Although it's a lovely tune, but put it on silent. Everyone loves their iPhone. Okay. And so there's all this data that's out there, but it's not just the data that's out there that's changing, that has changed over the last 30 years that I've been around anyway in terms of the business. It's also, I'll tell you what else has changed. The other thing that's changed is population, yeah? The population around the world, okay, increasing, yeah? Increasing. I live in London. London, I have seen it change so much, yeah, in over 50 years that I've been alive, yeah. I've seen it change in terms of people are more on top of each other than they ever were, yeah. So what's happening with all these people being on top of each other is that they seem to be losing a sense of identity, yeah. They're losing a sense of, who are these people? Who am I? What is myself? What is it that I'm representing? And that for me has created a world in which people are looking at brands as an extension of who they are, yeah? And I remember, I'm not just talking from the point of view of commercial brands. People today are living more than ever in their own mind space. And this is the biggest place that brands are looking to get a hold of, if you see what I mean. Because as I said before, remember what I said about the idea that everyone's looking at all this data and they're thinking, well, there's something going on over there and there's something going on over here, and I'm not part of it. What am I missing out on? What am I missing out on? And so brands are looking to actually occupy this mind space. They're looking to actually make people, from a perception point of view, yeah, say to themselves, I identify with this brand, but it's all happening in the mind space. That's really different from where I started off in advertising many years ago, okay? And so if you're speaking to someone from the point of view of someone who is engaged, yeah, engaged in what's going on over here, because we're all we're a generation that looks down. We're not a generation that looks up anymore. Yeah? So we're a generation that's looking down all the time, and they're focusing like this. We've got to try and get into this space, which is a difficult place to get into, yeah? Because of all the data that's, bombarding these people with messages saying, you can trust me, and then the other tribe says, I'm saying the word tribe because I'm going back to the caveman. So the other tribe says, no, you should be trusting me, and so on and so forth. And so what happens, they're bombarded with all this sort of idea. So I think that today, when it comes to brands, I don't think that any of us in this auditorium, I don't think any of us are actually selling any products or services anymore. I know you're selling products or services, but beyond that, I think you're selling something else. I think that what you're giving people, what you're selling to people today, is the idea of a cause. A cause is much bigger than just a service or a product. A cause is a meaning. A cause is a purpose. A cause is something that all the people where I live in London, yeah, where we're all on top of each other all the time, and increasingly so, can say, well, at least this is a place, remember from the mind space point of view, this is a place that I can identify with. This is a place that I can feel that other people who are occupying this mind space, yeah, we are literally like-minded. Which brings me to the more controversial aspect of what I want to talk about tonight. While I've been here, it's been, as I said, it really has been a privilege. The people here have been so welcoming, it's been amazing. While I've been here, I've been speaking mostly about branding from the commercial point of view. But I wanted to say for tonight the special way of looking at it, which is from a different point of view. But it is still branding, okay? Okay, so we've seen this one from before, okay? One last thing on this one, actually, from a commercial point of view, is in the new book, the brand psychology book, it's based on a lot of stuff from Harvard and many highly respected places. They wanted to find out what is the earliest age that a child would recognize the brand. And the way they would do it is that how did the child respond to a logo or something like that? We'll do a quick thing here, just 15 seconds or something like that. Would anyone like to suggest, it's just a bit of fun, would like to suggest the earliest age a child would recognize a brand? Before you shout it out, just speak to the person next to you. It's also a way of saying hello. So have a quick chat for 10 seconds with the person next to you and just think what kind of age you think. Wait, before you say it, have a 10-second chat because it's a good way of getting to know people. All right. Yeah, it's always it. Any reason to get to know someone is always a good thing, I think. Or it's always a good thing. You don't need to be alone. Okay, so someone just show me a hand or something or other that I can get an answer from. Yeah, but you'll have to speak up a bit because I've also, apart from losing my hair, I'm also losing my my hearing. So go on then. About 3 years old. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good. Excellent answer. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll take about 3 or 4 answers. Yeah. You think it's 18 months. Thank you very much. And anywhere else? Yes. Oh, as I said, I qualified this by how they could respond in terms of, so it's not speaking as such, it's just as responding. And this guy is giving it to me in, in 6, 7. 6, sorry. Okay, right, 6. Really? Okay. He's saying 6 months. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right, one more for the sake of it, because it seems to be that you're quite interested in this one. One last one. 1.5. Any more offers? Okay, 1.5. There you go. So to you, sir. For 1.5. Well done. No, actually, it's so to, where are you? Over there. This lady over there, it actually is 18 months. 18 months. How do they know? Because they're looking at the response of the child to, actually I'll tell you what it was, I'll be very precise exactly if you want to know what it was. It was a cereal, it was a package of cereal, a branded package of breakfast cereal, and when the child was presented with these different cereal brands, yeah, it was this particular one that they kept on, not just one child, obviously, it is quite a few, it seemed to be that they were recognizing that, but that's really scary, isn't it? 18 months. 18 months in terms of, wow. That means that when you're speaking to a child and when you're speaking to a young person and when you're speaking to a young adult and when you're speaking to an adult, you're now speaking to someone who's pretty sophisticated when it comes to branding. You're speaking to someone who's going to say to you, tell me something I don't know. Yeah? Tell me something I don't know. Yeah? And maybe you're going to have to get a bit even more shocking to try and get people's attention, yeah? Because, you know, it's a bit like this. When I was a kid, in fact, the first time I was ever in Israel was about 2 years, something like that, about 2 years after the book The Exorcist came out. And I remember that we weren't allowed to read The Exorcist because it was considered to be too scary to read this book. Never mind about seeing the film, okay? Nowadays, I don't know if you've ever seen a film like Saw or whatever, these horror films. It just seems to be getting, you know, I need greater shock. Really? This is very interesting. What to do what I'm talking about? Really? We need greater shock to wake people up? Show me something more. Show me something that shows authenticity. Which brings me to this. So in today's mind space, yeah, with all these people looking for all these causes, yeah, we come up with the issue of ISIS. Let me just bring this up here. Interesting logo, by the way, but I don't want to talk about that today. Okay. It's a very powerful logo, I actually think. But anyway, let's not talk about that today. I was in Mumbai in November. I was in Mumbai in November, giving some talks over there. And they took me to a part of the city which was particularly poor, In fact, they lived on rubbish. They literally lived on rubbish. The rivers, I don't know if anyone's been to Mumbai, you'll know where you know the one I'm talking, you know where I'm talking about over there. Yeah, and so the rivers, you know about this. And some rivers, I actually was able to literally walk on, water. There wasn't any water left in the place, yeah. It was just rubbish. It was just the byproduct of consumerism, yeah. And the interesting thing about what I saw over there in Mumbai was that all these people, poor people, good people, yeah, I'm sure they were good people, but they were all had one thing in common, and it's got nothing to do with religion or any of that stuff. It's got to do with they were all doing what they're doing over there, which is looking down, yeah? They're looking down, and they are connected to the internet. I mean, I don't know where it was, but they had some amazing Wi-Fi, even in the poorest of the poor place. You know, maybe we've got no food, but at least we've got the Wi-Fi. Yeah? Strange world. Okay. And it meant that these people are getting messages all the time. Remember, we're talking about the idea of, hey, there's a different life over there. And people are looking for authenticity again. And this is one of the reasons why I think that you get a brand such as, and I'm saying I call it a brand such as, although it is an incredibly evil brand, but you get a brand such as ISIS who's saying to people, here's authenticity. Look at the world. Look at people like Jonathan Gabay. Look at people like this disgusting man who actually goes around the world and tells brands, right, big brands, how to actually get your money, and how these brands, right, can make you happy by having rubbish like an Apple computer or whatever it is. And he tells these people, go on, tell the world how to do it. And they're saying, and then they say, but that isn't life, is it? Is that really what you want? We get the population stuff going on. We get the big data stuff going on, and then it starts reaching people who are saying there must be a different way. I was actually speaking to this gentleman over there about Brighton. I like Brighton. Anyone been to Brighton in London? In the UK, sorry. Yeah, Brighton, yeah. Awful beach, mind you. It's very stony. It's very stony. You can't lie on the beach in Brighton. Anyway, in Brighton, apart from it having an awful beach, yeah, I've been going to Brighton on and off, you know, not every year, but, you know, every couple of years, maybe every 5 years, whatever it is. You know, sometimes you fancy going to the weekend somewhere rather. You go to Brighton or whatever it might be. And I've been going to Brighton for a bit of time. And my wife and I, we were there, I think it was last year or something like that. Yeah, I went there for a day. They've got a very nice market, actually, in Brighton. And we went over there, and we were very, very surprised at what we saw in Brighton. We saw this. We saw a very large group of people who were handing out this thing here, this leaflet, which was saying they wanted to make Brighton free from anything to do with Israel. They wanted it to make it into a Israel-free zone. Now, I must tell you, this is a very small minority of people, because as I told you, I'd known Brighton for a long time, and they're great people, like lots of great places in the UK. This is a very small minority. And they were intelligent people. There were people, funnily enough, there were people there, because I thought I would be seeing just kids from university and stuff like that. No, there were people there, middle-aged people, older people, whatever it might be, and they were doing all this sort of idea. And in the introduction, I believe you said that I do some stuff with the media here and there. Because I do some stuff with the media, I'm able to, I've got a press pass, so it basically means I can go basically anywhere I like, behind the lines, behind the whatever it might be. And so I was able to take these photographs from the media's point of view, which was all about the usual thing that is going on around the world at the moment, which is this thing of, I mean, sorry, it actually upsets me. To be honest with you, this upsets me. This stuff about boycotting Israel and all this nonsense. And it reminds me that from a psychological point of view, there was funnily enough, he was a British neurosurgeon. His name was Wilfred Trotter. And he's the guy, we're talking about a long time ago, 100 years ago or more than that. And he's the guy who coined the idea of what is called herd behavior, that people in a crowd, will act in a way that they wouldn't normally act. You get this with football supporters and so on and so forth. And what he was saying, which was very, very interesting, he said the people who will incite the crowds the most would usually not be the majority people. It would be one or two, very small amount of people, but they would be so, there must be a word in English for this, they're the sort of people that they're so, to shut them up, people go with them, they go along with it, because they just keep on and on and on, you know? And it drives you nuts. So what happens is that eventually what happens, you get all these crowds doing things, saying things, which they're only saying it because the guy next door's saying it. And then the other guy's saying it. And that, I thought, was interesting. Because these people, they're just being swept along with something, And if we go back to the idea of commerce, and go back to Mumbai, where people are thinking, well, what's going on over there? Am I missing something over here? Am I part of something? With people increasingly feeling that they need to be part of something, this stuff is happening, We know all this, that it's happening. But what I'm interested in is what could you do about it? I think there's something when it comes to the internet, which is called online disinhibition. And online disinhibition, in the book I talk about, there are so many versions of it. I mean, there's something like 30 versions of it. But basically what it is, online disinhibition, is that when people are on the web, they say things or do things that they think that their peers, their friends, would want them to do. Do you see what I mean? So that I'll use a word, but it's not really appropriate to this case, but it's a good word to use. So that they think that the friends think they're one of us, they're cool, they're in the in crowd, And so you get people, because we're looking for identity, So you get people who are saying, I want to show that I'm in the in crowd, But then what happens is that it becomes self-perpetuating, because the thing becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And at one point, there's a very famous fable. I don't know if you know it over here, about the emperor's new clothes. Have you ever heard? Yeah, you know the story about the emperor's new clothes. So no one would ever say that the guy, wasn't wearing any clothes, because everyone would just say, you know what, I'm sure a lot of those people believed that he actually was wearing clothes, but he didn't want to say that actually I'm the one who doesn't see he's wearing clothes, Because if he were there, everyone would think I'm stupid. But this emperor's new clothes stuff perfectly captures this idea. So today we are living from not just a political point of view, but from a commercial point of view. We're living in an era where people are very, very, very cynical. They're very cynical. They say, okay, I know why you're doing all this stuff, why you're being friendly and all the rest of it, because you basically want to sell me something. You've got an agenda. You've got a hidden type of agenda. And you get this, what this does in terms of I know your game, you get this thing where you get two sides, yeah? Side A and side B, tribe A and tribe B. I don't trust these guys because they're not like me. The other guys, they're not like me, and this guy will say, no, this is the correct way, and the other guy says, no, this is the correct way, and so then what happens, it just goes on and on and on, yeah? So, in terms of this ISIS stuff, I don't know if you can see that there, but in terms of this ISIS stuff, in terms of packaging it, it's quite ingenious, I think, actually. I think it's pretty clever, yeah? In terms of using the latest social media stuff and not actually have, I mean, if you remember rightly with Osama bin Laden, when he made recordings, it was in a cave somewhere or some nondescript place, but now it's like, have a look around, yeah? And it's like watching a movie of some type. And it's like, here's a cause, like, and over there you can see, I took some footage from a very old Robin Hood film, yeah? Yeah? And this is something worth fighting for, so that we can get rid of the Gabays in this world. Yeah? And so that we can be authentic again. And so what has become currency today, one of the greatest currencies today, is victimhood. Victimhood. You know, you shouldn't be treated like this. You deserve more. Yeah? Victimhood. It's a great currency. I'm with you on this 100%. You deserve more. Victimhood. It's all about the psychology of reaching these people, yeah, of going further into their heads, so that what happens is that it's not just about a factual thing that you're saying, but an emotional thing, and it starts spreading. Which brings me back to the social networks. Here are some words, here's the lyrics actually, from a song by Elton John and his partner Bernie Taupin. And it's a, I don't know if anyone has this song. Anyway, it says, I want love, just a different kind. I want love, won't break me down, won't brick me up, won't fence me in. I want love that don't mean a thing. It's a lyric, okay. That's the love I want. I want love. In other words, I don't want to get involved with a great big, long-term relationship and all that goes with it. And I think that that is partly what makes the social media so attractive from a psychological point of view. Because what you can do with it is that you can have all the human interaction you'd ever want, but you don't have to actually commit to anything. Because if you get fed up, you can just block them on Twitter. See what I mean? Very, very interesting. And so what's happening is that people, from a society point of view, people are getting into something which is called ennui. Lovely, I love that word, it's a beautiful word. And ennui is, it means in the dictionary, it means a state where there is no meaning or purpose. But I'm just going to float by life, yeah? I'm just going to float by life. So individuality becomes, well, you know what? We can measure individuality. We can just say, well, we'll put an algorithm on it. And so there's no sense of real identity. By the way, it's an interesting picture, this one, because look at the picture. This one I'm about to show you is same picture. Keep watching this picture. It's just an interesting picture. And here we go. Let's go here, and you go here, and there we go. Actually, so it's actually literally the same picture as you saw before. Nothing's been changed. It's just the other way around. So what people are showing the world isn't what is really happening. That's the point of that. Okay. So what are we going to do about all this stuff? Look at this. You could say, from a Hasbara point of view, yeah, you could say, all right then, let's give people the facts, okay? Forget about the emotion stuff, let's give them the facts. Did you know that, and this is true, I'm not making it, that more than 2,500 left-handed people are killed every year from using equipment meant for right-handed people? That is a fact. That is a fact, it is a fact. Did you know that cotton candy was invented by a dentist? That's one clever dentist. Did you know that vending machines kill 4 times as many people as sharks per year? I have no idea how it does that, but apparently, I don't know. I don't know, but apparently it's true, yeah? What happens, it's a very interesting thing. They found in a university, actually to be precise, a university in Michigan, found that when you told someone, remember you got those two groups, you had the A group and the B group. When you told someone from the other tribe, well actually, you're misreading us because that's not what it is, because here are the actual facts of what we're about. What happens, they found in Michigan, in terms of this university over there, they found that the more you gave them the facts, the more they would say, but you would say that, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? And so really, you're going nowhere with this. In fact, it made them more saying, I'm against you and stuff like that. There was, in my school, there was a guy who came to talk to the school, okay? He came to talk to the school. And he wanted to talk about his trip to the Amazon jungle. Okay, or the Amazon region of the world. Okay, fine. So he's talking about, and he shows slide after boring slide after boring slide, and he talks and he shows you all these monkeys or whatever it might be, yeah? And it's all facts and figures and figures and facts, right, non-stop, okay? And, all right, and so, then the headmaster comes on, and he said, well, thank you very much, very, very good, shows you, everyone, I think, very, very good, very, very interesting talk, that. And then he said, and does anyone have any questions? Yeah? No one had any questions except for one boy. And when the headmaster saw that it was this particular boy, of all the people who has to ask the questions, he wasn't the brightest guy. Yeah? And he thought, really, is this going to be the only guy who's going to ask this man a question? And the question is that this guy said, the boy said to him, was this. He said, my question is, so what was it like? Do you understand the brilliance of that question? He's given me facts. He's given me figures, yeah? But he's not telling me what it was like to see all these things. And this is psychology. This is connecting with people. I want to show you an advert. Can I show you a brief commercial? It's a brief commercial featuring a very famous football player, okay? And I was thinking about it from the point of view of what what I'm seeing in terms of some people, not all people, of course, minority, but anyone is too much for me, saying about Israel. Have a look at this, the thinking in this. Interesting.
You'll never be good enough or big enough. You'll never make it with the big boys in the big league. You'll never leave your little hometown, and you'll never make it overseas, definitely not in first class. You'll never score with your head or your right foot. You'll never even stay on your feet. And when you do go down, you'll never get back up. You'll never win a FIFA Ballon d'Or, and no way fall. You'll never break a record, and no way all of them. Forget about them chanting your name or wearing it on their backs. You'll never be a champion of champions, a hero, a legend. You'll never be the greatest, and never the greatest player that's ever lived.
Good, bad, interesting? I've got a very interesting approach. Because it's not to say you're the best, it's that everyone hates you. You're right. You're right. But look at what we did. When you get the message out there, what happens, it's going from being persuasive to being pervasive. And pervasive means a message that is spread everywhere. Yeah? A message that actually makes people think. Yeah, a message that says, well, maybe there's a different side of it. You know what? When we go through life, all of us, me included, all of us, we go through life. This is a picture that I've been using on all the talks, but I want to use it in a different way today. Usually I'm talking about the conscious and the subconscious, okay? But I want to talk about it in a different way today. When we go through life, most of us, we've got enough problems in life, right? we've got problems with the family, we've got problems with the work, are we going to be chucked out tomorrow, you know, and then this one doesn't like me and that one, whatever, and all the stuff, right? And I've got competitors, I've got problems all over the place, right? And so what happens in life is most of us, believe it or not, we can all say, oh, I know more than him and he knows more than her, and believe it or not, most of us, me starting with me, we live here. Yeah, because I can't start thinking about every single thing. I just go, most of us float by in life, yeah? Because it gets too much otherwise, right? So we have to float by in life, so we live under there. But that bit over there, the submerged bit, yeah, that's the bit that brands need to talk to. The bit that people aren't even paying any attention to, yeah? The bit that doesn't notice the TV commercial. The bit where the brand isn't just a clever advert, yeah, but is a way of life, it's a way of thinking, it's an actual doing of something. A bit that affects the mind, yeah? In the book, I go into great detail about which part of the brain is affected. We're not doing that tonight. That's a biology lesson, or we'll do that another day. But here's a few bits from the book. We all tweet. We're all on Twitter or something like that, yeah? Okay, so what's happening on Twitter? Just a little insight here. On Twitter, there's a part of the brain which is called the posterior cingulate cortex. And the posterior, don't worry about it. It's called, don't worry about it. You're never going to have to worry about it, okay? But the posterior cingulate cortex, okay, is a bit of your brain that tells you whether what you're looking on Twitter, when it looks at Twitter, whether this has any interest to me. Does it have any value to me, yeah? That's the first bit. The next bit, there's a bit of the brain which is called the Wernicke area, okay? Don't worry about what it's called, okay? And the Wernicke area, what happens there, it's involved in the understanding of written and spoken language. So it's a bit of the brain that says, does it actually make any sense to me, this? Some of you can follow this actually on the little cards that I put out. And there's a bit of the brain which is called the amygdala, which is also known by some, quite nice, quite cute, as the cuddle chemical. And it's a bit that makes you feel, you know what? I get the value, I understand what's happening, and emotionally, the cuddle chemical stuff, I want to be part of this stuff. Now, when you start thinking, not just in algorithms, but you start thinking that you're speaking to people in terms of their heads, yeah? And you're starting to think to yourself, well, is it going to give value? Is it going to make sense to these people? Yeah? And is it going to make them feel connected? Then all of a sudden, you've got a seriously powerful conversation going on. Yeah? So it's not talking at people, it's talking with people. Talking is not wrong, it's speaking with people. I put this one up as well in other ones, this little slide here. It's a bit like this. It's about telling a narrative. Yeah? Telling a narrative like a great movie. Yeah? Telling a narrative that people can feel, yes, I'm connected to this, as if you were watching a great movie and you feel connected to the whole thing. And we have got to continue that narrative. You know, a lot of people ask me when I haven't got much time or whatever it might be or whatever, what is a brand? And indeed, you asked me earlier on, just tell me what is a brand? What is a brand? What is it about? What is all this stuff about? Okay? I'll tell you what a brand is, right? I'll do it standing on one leg if you like. But what a brand is this. A brand is very simply a good name. That's it. That's what, if I had to distill it, you know, all these 15 books and all these lectures and whatever it is, I'd just say what it is, it's a good name. Because a good name travels far, but a bad name travels even further or farther. Yeah? That's what a brand is. Which brings me to my final slides. I've come up with some of you will have this actually, if you look at the back of the square thing that you got, some of you haven't, you know, the different ones. I've come up with this. This is what I think is the pyramid of branding today. The bottom of the pyramid, the foot of the pyramid, the base of the pyramid, the foundation of the pyramid is belief. Yeah? You've got to have a basic belief that the Cheerios, the pack of Cheerios, yeah, is actually going to be there in the supermarket. It was a bit of a waste of time. Number two, trust. You've got to have trust that not only are the Cheerios going to be there, yeah, but they're going to actually do what they say, which is make the kids happy or whatever it is that they're going to promise to do. Yeah? Next one is the big one, the huge one, and that one is faith. Because when people in tribe A, as opposed to tribe B, when they actually really, really believe in the message because of some of the reasons I spoke about before, yeah, it doesn't matter what you're going to say. They're going to just say, well, as I said before, well, you would say that. That's just propaganda, and I'm not going to listen to it. Faith. The people like me who, for example, on a commercial point of view, I have an Apple here. Yeah, other people would say, why are you having an Apple when you could have this Microsoft system? But faith it's more than just the ecosystem. And where are we leading to with all of this stuff? I'll tell you where we're leading to with all of this stuff. Where we're leading to is Hatikva. That's where we're leading to with all of this stuff. Hatikva. We are leading to the idea of hope. Yeah? Because every brand that can say to someone, because of all these reasons, of which I have outlined some of them in our short talk together, because of all of these reasons, you can trust us, you can have faith in us, yeah? You can believe us that we are going to produce a better Apple, a better iPhone, or even a better way to get rid of these Gabays. I hope that today I've given you some food for thought. If you want to read the book, read the book. If you want to get it, I've told, as Ronen knows this, that for this Israel trip, this is because it's Israel, I'll give all my personal royalties away for this trip. So what I'll do is that if you go to that site rather than I can't do it on Amazon, I can't control Amazon, but I can do it direct from the publisher, and you'll get a 20% discount, which is what I would have made anyway on it, okay? I hope that we won't read stuff like I read this afternoon while I was waiting to come on. I read a piece in Jerusalem Post. This is from today. Okay, I had to write it down because memory being what it is. Okay, and so it was from a politician. And I'm not taking one side or the other because I don't want to get into this tribal thing again, okay? But what I want to just say is what this politician said. He said, Israel is weak without the United States. That's what they said. It doesn't matter who said it, we'll get the Jerusalem Post and find out for yourself. Okay, but they basically said that Israel is weak without the United States. And I would say this to that. The world would be much weaker without Eretz Israel. Thank you very much.